Got a few new toys here. I'm going to start playing with them. My goal here is to make this whole rig work on battery power. That may seem like an unusual goal. Don't you normally just play music in clubs or concert halls or play places that have power? Like if it's got a sound system, surely it's got power, right? But this speaker here is battery powered. I want my rig to be something that I can take anywhere and I can play anywhere. So I have these. 5 volt to 9 volt converters, and they match the polarity of guitar pedals. You can use them to power all of these devices. The black box is already 5 volts, runs off USB, as is my Zoom and all my MIDI controllers. So the only thing that I can't actually power off these little adapters are my two synthesizers. But I've also got some 9 volt to 12 volt adapters. But the advantage of these Joyo ones is that they are completely isolated. So that means you won't get any weird ground loops with the USB, which is something that I had when I was using... somewhere in here. Anyway, I can't find them, but they're the standard ones you get off Amazon. So the problem is that if you've got everything all connected to the same USB power supply, your power has multiple paths it can take. It can go through your power adapter, or it can go through the audio path. So you can have power flowing through your audio, usually called a ground loop, and it sounds bad and adds lots of hum. So the way that you get around that is by, you can do a few things. You can use balanced cables, which unfortunately I can't do because a lot of my stuff doesn't have balanced connections here. Or you can use isolators on the audio, or you can use isolators on the power. And when you're using your standard wall adapter power supply, like that one, it's not a problem because they're all isolated, and so there's no electrical connection that's flowing between these two synthesizers, so that they're independent. They don't do anything. I don't know how this stuff works. But as soon as you start trying to plug it in with USB, you get all sorts of terrible, nasty sounds. Anyway, so these Joyo things, they're isolated. You can actually just use them as a 9 volt to 9 volt converter if you want to run a daisy chain and you're having the same problem. So they're pretty awesome. They're a little bit more expensive than your standard Amazon deal, but they are really cool. Now I have a massive fucking battery, 30,000 milliamp hours, and I'm going to see if I can run this entire setup on this one battery. Before I got this, I was using these, which is the Promate Pro Volta 21. They're 20,000 milliamp hours, and they supposedly have 3 amp outputs, except that they don't. It's a lie. They've got one 2 amp output and 2 1 amp outputs, and they'll just cut out as soon as anything goes over, which is probably a good thing, but it means that I can only power like maybe 1 or 2 of my setup with this one power bank. This one supposedly has 4 ports that are all over 2 amps, and I'm going to test that and find out if that's true. I'm probably also going to need some USB splitters. I'm just trying to open this thing and it's got obviously got tape here. It's Halloween, okay? So this is the Promate Pro Volta 30. And look, it's already charged and powered on. And there's a cat! Hey cat! Helpful as ever. Let's see how much of my rig I can power with this. Now I've already moved a lot of my rig to USB. So I have preemptively tried to power it all with USB so that in theory it's going to be easier to convert it to run off a USB power bank. And it also means that I don't have to have this big load of power adapters, which is super annoying. And it seems a little bit odd to try and power all the stuff off USB when it's already got adapters, but I'm just trying to make it as efficient as possible. Like ideally I want to have this power supply built into this rig somehow. And maybe I could use a pedal power supply. That wouldn't allow me to run off battery. So you can see there's a bit of a wad of stuff here. Yeah, so I'm already using a few of these to power the 2 Zoyas, and yeah, that's all the 2 Zoyas. So now I'm going to try and make it so I can power these reverb and delay. Currently those are these 2 warts over here. So let's get rid of those. Oh look, I actually tried to do some cabling here with some twisty ties. Oh my god. Okay, where's this plugged in? Straight into that. New adapter. Now, unfortunately, I can't really use these to power more than one pedal because they only output 400 milliamps, and most of my pedals are 400 milliamps. They do turn on, but I found that, like with the Zoyos, for example, as soon as the CPU went over 50%, they just suddenly stopped working. It's good to know that these have overcurrent protection, because I've encountered some of these other adapters I have just getting really, really hot and just continuing to work, which is plug it straight into here. Let's just try it with my USB power directly from the main voltage. And the other one, what's this? Plugging into the reverb and some of my other weird effects in my summers that are merging all the effects signals. Now, I've run out of USB plugs on this. So this is where the first experiment starts. Can I use USB hubs to get a bit more power out of this thing? Is it all just going to cut out as soon as I turn it on? Now, I have some two-way USB hubs on the way from Amazon, and I'm hoping that they are going to be fine. For now, I'm going to experiment using these four-way hubs that I have, but I'm only going to use two of the plugs on them just to make sure that we're not stretching the current too far, because these little step-up converters do draw quite a lot. It supposedly has 2.1 milliamp outputs. We'll see if we can get that to power a couple of adapters. We will see. Wrote up a bunch of stuff where I calculated the power usage of all these different things, and I figured out that I could run a couple of them together, I think. But I can't remember what it was now, so I'm just going to start plugging in random stuff and hope that things don't explode. Okay. That would be everything running on USB now. But I'm still running these two off a separate power adapter because of noise issues. They're the cheaper adapters. I can only get these Joyo isolated ones for 9 volt. I can't get them for 12 volt, which is a bit of a shame. As long as I have most things isolated, it shouldn't matter if a few of the things aren't isolated. And if that is a problem, this. It's basically a DI, but runs at line level. It's passive as well, so it won't take up more power. If I have to, I can put my two synthesizers, one or more. I might only need to do it on one, and we'll see. Hopefully that'll mean that I can use those not so great Amazon adapters that don't do isolation. Yeah, isolate the power or isolate the audio. Either works. Whee! Everything's powered up. Let's see if there is any noise. Okay, that is everything in my setup running on USB now. Wait, there is a little bit of noise. It's probably noise from one of these. Is it this stupid little pedal? It is that stupid little pedal. Okay, this one pedal here. Oh, geez. Yeah, you gotta watch out for that. So the positive outer touches this, shorts back into the... Yeah, it's bad. Power is dangerous. I'm becoming electro boom over here. So that's really loud, yeah, so that noise there, that's quite a low noise floor, so I don't think I've got anything to worry about there. But we'll see once we plug these back into the actual USB hub. The good news is that I'm able to power everything except for these two so far, being powered off the same USB supply without any noise issues, except for this one pedal here, which for some reason introduces noise, but it only introduces a little bit of noise. Definitely adding some noise. I think it's the Zoyo and the pedal having a ground loop. Anyway, we'll come back to that. I suppose I could put this on that little pedal. Or is it being played, is it a ground loop? Or is it something else? No, the noise is gone, so it is a ground loop. So either of these are plugged in, we get a ground loop. Okay, cool, so let's try this little box. Huh, magic, no more noise. We've still got super loud here. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, well there's a temporary solution as I put this pedal on a Behringer MicroHD hum destroyer. So let's try out this pedal and see if it still works. Sure does. Right, the Behringer Micro HD 400 ultra compact 2-channel hum destroyer saves the day. So back to these things. Can we add these to the same USB? Yeah, watch what happens when I just plug them in. Too much stuff on my table. I need a bigger desk. These things are pretty needy. These 5 volt to 12 volt adapters. Here goes, big bang. Okay. Noise. Lots of noise. So we can't put the synthesizers on there for now. Just ground loops. I need to put this adapter on the synths. The noise is gone. Yeah, so I'm really happy with that. No, that's really good. That noise floor is really good. I should have probably done a line out or something so that you could hear it on the camera, but whatever. I've got another one of these on the way. I'm going to be able to run both of these synthesizers on it. But let's just see what happens for a start if I plug this synth directly also into this power. Yeah, there it is. So it's just the bass is noise. So what do I do for now, because I don't have another one of these. I also don't have one for this here. Power isolators I think are cheaper than these, so I'll probably put this on its own power. Yeah, but for now I'm just going to have to keep powering this on its own USB. That's okay. It's frustrating because down here in New Zealand it takes very long for any of these things to arrive and you can't buy them. This so far hasn't actually been running on the battery, and I'm kind of scared now to try it on the battery, but I have just about the entire rig running on USB, so in theory it should just be possible for me to unplug it from that USB power supply that's connected directly to the mains electricity and into this beast, but it probably won't work. Let's find out. Shutting down. So it only has 4 USB plugs. And one of them is a USB-C, so I have a USB-C hub. We'll see how much juice you can get out of USB-C. Now probably this thing's gonna turn on as soon as I start plugging stuff into it. Oh, it's already gone and turned on. Synth powered up, excellent, but that was expected. This looks like probably the black box. What's this? This looks like... I don't know, I'll plug it and see what happens. That must be the Raspberry Pi. Still powered up though. Yep, there we go, the MIDI controllers are coming on. That's one synth, the black box, those are... and... okay, this is definitely better than what I was able to do on the old power supply already. Let's plug in the effects that are running on USB hubs. There's no way that this would have worked on my old power bank. So, moment of truth. Does it all just shut down? Reverb's not going and one of my synths isn't going. Oh, one of the Zoys isn't going. Is that a pattern? So what do we got running over here? It's so unorganized. It looks like USB hubs are doing some kind of power routing thing, which is kind of frustrating. They must like supply as much as they can and then they stop supplying the next thing. It's like some kind of series powering. One of these is going and one of them is not going. Let's try this other USB hub. Both of them are going now. Is that right? Yeah. No, it stopped going. So USB hubs and power banks apparently don't work. That's okay. But it does work with this big USB thing over here. With the mains power it works. So I wonder why that is. Let's see how much power USB-C can do. Got our delay pedals working. Oh, and it's dead. Okay, so it definitely can't do 3. And it's dead. Definitely some limitations when running off a battery, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get the whole thing to run on a single battery. Oh, I'm seeing this pedal freaking out like crazy over here. Maybe I can't run on one battery. But we'll wait and see once I get the Amazon hubs, if maybe they work. Otherwise I'll go back to my original plan, running on more than one battery. So it might end up having to run I mean, ideally if I can run on 2 batteries, that's better than... Good news is, it looks like I'll be able to run my entire rig off this one USB power supply. So that's something. I mean, maybe I haven't got my battery power solution, but I at least do have a way of making all this run off a single power outlet. That's a bonus. I'm going to kneel down here so I can approach you from the heart. This project is very close to me and something I've been working on for many years. This particular hardware version, we're talking about a couple of years of like dedicated work. If you want to follow along and see how this all goes and if I can actually get this working on battery, or find out just like what is working already and how it all works, I don't know, this is my first YouTube video, I don't know how this works. Like and subscribe.